This is AT-4 CS. So, first things first, I'm going to do this. It's been 10 months since the Komandante along with you have been under sanctions, so no new cars for us. No Volvos, no Belas, dump trucks, nothing like that. Mostly Soviet equipment, and even that is in ruins. Look at this battlefield. I destroyed so much Soviet stuff here, and fired so many Soviet things. Well, for one thing, it's just a shame that IKEA is gone, the Swedish company. I gotta say they had comfy beds, chairs, and all that. And speaking of, not only do the Swedes got comfortable chairs, the AT-4 grenade launchers are pretty comfortable too. They're entering our market under import substitution completely by chance. But look, there are even earplugs here. Now that's what I call care. This grenade launcher was developed in 1976 by the Swedish company Försvarets Fabriksverk as a replacement for the M68 grenade launcher. The development initially envisioned the grenade launcher as an individual weapon for each soldier to combat lightly armored vehicles, or tanks from the sides or rear. The philosophy of the new grenade launcher was simplicity of use, durability, and increased accuracy compared to similar weapons. The Swedes even coined the phrase "beyond armor effect" specifically for advertising this grenade launcher. Specifically for the AT-4. Even before its adoption by the Swedish army, the AT-4 won a competition to replace the legendary M72 log grenade launcher from the Americans. They further developed it and adopted it under the name M136 law in 1987. And from that moment, this grenade launcher participated in almost every armed conflict. Currently, it's in service with over 30 countries, making it arguably the most successful grenade launcher in its class. If the real effect, so to speak, is lacking, you need to come up with something very marketing-oriented. You know, I don't really trust marketers who start making up all sorts of beyond armor effects. Accordingly, it raises some doubts in my mind. And I know one case where one dude tried to use a Swedish grenade launcher and it didn't go very well for him. I won't tell you the whole story, but this is what I'm talking about. So, first things first, I'm going to do this. I'm going to attach it to that Doomsday card that got damaged once. You can check that out in this episode. And if I can, do everything normally using remote, so to speak. Over there, Daniel came up with this thing. You see, it's a rope. It's supposed to press it and all that. And if everything goes well, I'll fire it myself. We're pulling the pin. Here's the first handle, here's the second handle. So logically, a person does this, holds onto this handle, this like under their shoulder. Next he pulls the pin, the one right here. He then switches the trigger mechanism like that. Then this button is pressed up the safety catch, and by pressing this button, we're firing. There is a Picatinny rail here for some reason, but the aiming sight is like this. Look. We pull this thing towards us. Okay, how does it pull? God fucking damn it. The aiming device opens like that. This is towards you, this is away from you. And here you see there's a little hole. We see the sight through that. Even the instructions say that if the vehicle is stationary, then in the middle. If it's moving slowly, then here. And if it's fast, then in this aiming circle. We aim at the left side, that is, we take a little lead. Bam and good night. It is not as simple as it seems with this grenade launcher. Where I found it was dusty, noisy and loud. So something inside might have been damaged as a result of various shocks, if you know what I mean. And that's why I came up with this ring, this rope. Right now, I'm going to clamp the safety catch itself with a clamp, like this. And I'm going to fire from behind the car.
Are you ready?
Let's go. I'm pulling the pin, but what if it detonates while I'm pulling the pin? Let me move further away from you. First things first, I'm pulling the pin. Okay, let's say I pulled the pin. Let's go! This thing, you see it in slow motion, how it flies out, and inside you see water. The water is the counterweight which dampens part of this jet that comes out from behind. And so that you're in some room, for example, this very water is such a non-flammable mixture that creates a counterweight. So it was difficult to assume that the sight wouldn't be knocked off when I pulled this thing. I pulled on this thing, and the grenade launcher went down after all. You see it swaying like that. It went down, and I hit the Soviet Kamaz right in front of it. But actually, it's hard to imagine what kind of damage I inflicted upon the land, because it's visible in slow motion, it's visible from a drone. But I didn't hit the Kamaz because I was scared. What about secondary fragments? Are there any secondary fragments? There are only primary fragments from my previous experiments. And God knows what this thing is here. Is there anything resembling fragments from this projectile? This is clearly not from here. Absolutely nothing. This is AT-4 CS. It's a disposable grenade launcher. Essentially a cheap alternative to another brainchild of the Swedes, the Carl Gustaf. It's lighter, weighs only 6.7 kg. The CS, by the way, is 8 kilograms and 102 centimeters long with a caliber of 84 millimeters. That's where it gets its name. It's a play on words. In English, AT-4 sounds like AT-4. In the barrel behind the grenade is a propellant charge, and the barrel is closed with plastic caps on both ends, which are ejected when fired. The grenade itself weighs 3 kilograms with a muzzle velocity of 290 meters per second, or 220 in the case of the CS. The effective firing range is only 300 meters. The explosive is octal, a mixture of octagon and TNT in a ratio of about 75 to 25 with a mass of 440 grams of octal in our case. Beyond armor effect, that's the bizarre phrase the Swedes came up with for advertising the 84. And as described in the FFV brochure, their first 84 brochure in 1983, the effect outside the armor had 5 distinct characteristics when piercing an armored vehicle. The first advantage the Swedes saw in their grenade launcher was high internal overpressure, about 11 bar higher than normal. Secondary fragments, this is the second from the warhead itself, due to the large entry hole, plus more extensive fragments from shaped charges of similar diameter. And of course light, which is 100 times brighter than sunlight. Also, fourthly, the formation of thick smoke inside the armored personnel carrier, the release of a large amount of heat inside the armored vehicle, and as a consequence, the detonation of diesel fuel and all that. In other words, it's just excellent marketing materials, capitalism in all its glory. The forklift must be kinder forklift. Yeah, he is that way. A grenade launcher with water, hey? Well, first of all, you need to hit it, of course, because this forklift with this plate, frankly, is really pissing me off. Can I actually hit this plate, and what will happen to it if the Swedish grenade launcher, which I just tested, starts firing? That's annoying. The sound is so freaking annoying. Accountant. My sweet kind accountant. Yeah, I'll stick with the old ways. I'll put on my headphones. By the way, it's fucking awesome. There's almost no recoil at all. It's wet behind me, but that's not me. But in front of me is fire. Fire, water. There was some sound like that. Look, what a thing. Some kind of fragments hit the shape charge crap. Imagine that. This shape charge crap was at the bottom. And it detonated. Look, it's burning. Holy moly. And here's the point of impact. So, is this grenade launcher really that good? If it couldn't pierce this cast iron thing? Look. Oh, it did pierce it, by the way. Look, the shape charge jet did pierce this not quite small 10 centimeter cast iron plate. I mean, if it was, of course. And how much armor does it pierce according to the specs, Anton? Anton? 300? It pierces 300 millimeters of armor according to the specs. And that's actually true because it was pretty hot here. Because I can shove this bar in there. This cast iron counterweight of our Lviv forklift was pierced, and the engine of the forklift was damaged in several places. You can see it looks like it started up. What about the beyond armor effect? There should have been smoke around, a flash 100 times brighter than the sun, and there should have been a detonation of the ammunition or an ignition of diesel fuel. Well, there is something inside, and it did smoke a little. But honestly, I think the marketing campaign exaggerated the capabilities of this grenade launcher. After all, it's just a tractor. And he is like, well, there's a hole. So what? Well, it's a hole. What's next? So what's next? You must be surprised that I decided to put on a bulletproof vest and helmet only now. But I'll explain the reason. First, I want to put a fire extinguisher inside, because I really want to test these 5 hyped qualities that make up the phrase beyond armor effect. So I want to do this beyond armor effect in this way. I'll put the fire extinguisher behind the engine, and straight from here, literally from 15 meters away, I'll blast with the Swedish AT-4 grenade launcher. CS. Okay, I won't put on headphones because I look like a mama's boy operator. So this time I'll use earplugs from the company FFV. Just so we can see this better, I'll do it like this. Because there were a lot of hits before. It would have been nice to have this in the last episode. Now you'll be able to see everything clearly here. And we'll put him right here. Earplugs.
Oh!
Say something.
You're an idiot.
Can't hear jack shit.
Woohoo!
Fucking shit. It didn't work. Bitch, it didn't work. Imagine that. One grenade launcher misfired. And that's a bad sign because it probably can fire at any moment. So I'll destroy it later with the help of an AK. And now I'll take another grenade launcher and do the same thing. Well, let's take a look. What about that Swedish quality? Well, actually, the promised technician did not happen. The second factor by itself is where are the fragments? Oh, it's beautiful here. Look, it pierced the engine because I see all oily, so to speak, is this fire extinguisher. And
I think there's a hole in it.
and there's a hole in it?
Spray it. Grandma's powder.
No, there is no hole in it. And that's what's scary. If the hyped AT-4 grenade launcher gets inside a BMP, then it should tear everything apart inside. Secondary fragments, smoke, the brightness of the sun 100 times. But that's not the case. Look here. Yeah, I did hit the engine, and that says it's quite accurate. I'm seeing some secondary fragments in the front of the engine, but it didn't even get pierced through. That is meaning it just blew the oil up with the explosion. Was that the story? Let's look at it in slow motion what happened. But I don't see any additional holes here. Maybe you see it. But if it survived, then anyone could have survived. Okay, I might have rushed a little with conclusions. The bottom was completely blown apart, as was the gearbox. Look at the details I found here. Listen, this looks like it's from an RPG, right?
From a thermobar.
Imagine it would be fun if they were using RPG grenades. There, look, just some kind of a piece of the structure, a gear you see is lying down there, and the whole box was torn apart. If I could flip over this, there, look, you can see it very well from here. Check it out. Yes, the box was pretty well punctured. Everything inside was torn apart. It lowered a bit, just a little bit. Let's dust the nose a little. And this is beautiful. Now I'm going to climb up here, and you know what the problem is? The problem is that I was trying to fire this Swedish grenade launcher, and I forgot to pull one safety pin, so only one pin was pulled. I thought I was firing, and I thought, damn, it misfired. Then I looked and I thought, damn, there's another pin that's not pulled. I pulled the pin, put the trigger mechanism back, and thought, they probably considered this, right? When you accidentally forget to pull the pin. We'll test it now. I just want to fire from over there from the top into the bottom. At least try to do it. Hopefully it will fire. Do you see this bulging fat axis? Go take a closer look. I want to try to hit it. Most likely I won't hit it directly, but theoretically, if I hit it, the wheels will probably break in half. Or maybe not. Let's climb up with me. Yeah, they did consider it after all, and this is good news. I had one safety pin pulled, and the other one wasn't pulled. I thought, like, this is enough. I engaged the mechanism, basically this thing, the spring. This one here. It's done like this, bam, and it's on standby. Then you hold this thing, and bam, it fires. That's how it happened. At first, I thought it misfired. Then I looked, damn, one pin isn't pulled. I think, what will happen if I engage it back like this? Like I did it again. And try to fire. And it all worked out. Let's go see what's down there. It's Heavy Caliber Ruckus with you. I'm going down now. What's going on down there, buddy? Lviv forklift. You still alive? What the hell?
Ow. Ow.
Splinters, damn. Well, let's see. You shouldn't hide behind such a wall because 300 millimeters of armor, it's been proven, is pierced. Although, hold. My helmet, son. Okay, look. There could have been a good penetration here, and look, it is there. It pierced this thick crap about well, 6-7 centimeters. Look at the awesome mark. And it went in there. And by the way, some kind of fragment remained, look, I think, right? Or was it just blown apart? It went further out, the shaped charged jet. And look, there's oil leaking. Overall, I was trying to hit the rear axle, the transfer case, or whatever it's called, but I didn't hit it. A Swedish AT-4 grenade launcher firing at a Swedish AT-4 grenade launcher. And what happens? Secondary fragments, that's what comes from the environment. The strap came off. The second strap came off. Well, it's not really needed, unless you want to tear off the Picatinny rail for some reason and attach it to something. Yes, the Picatinny rail, by the way, I don't know why it's there. Write in the comments why it's there. By the way, it's some fucking reason adjustable here, back and forth. Here are such things, it seems they remove it backwards and you can do it like this. There's another Picatinny rail here. Who knows why it's here? You know, to be honest, I'm not impressed. I mean, the blast wave and everything else. It would seem that the RPG-7 grenade launcher is much more practical. It has more consumables. It's simpler. You don't have to remember anything. The safety pin, this thing, that thing. You open this, you open that. Of course, it's pleasant to the touch. Of course, it looks like a chair from IKEA. That is a convenient sight. Everything is plastic, tactile. This thing is rubberized. So it looks cooler than the RPG. And here you have earphones, earplugs, and a comfortable strap. That is, like, it looks nicer. But the effect I was expecting, the 5 factors of the beyond armor effect, the smoke, the fire, the light, and everyone going blind around, it sounds like, you know, the story about those samurai who ran around throwing those shurikens and so on. It looks cool, but in reality, you can hardly kill anyone with a shuriken. You can definitely kill with this grenade launcher, and it's probably very comfortable for some people, but look at this forklift. It basically looks like it wants me to blast it with a tank. Well, it was Heavy Caliber Ruckus with you. This was the AT-4 grenade launcher. In general, I want to say that I have another AT-4 grenade launcher, its previous version, which is supposed to destroy tanks, and maybe it's more powerful. Although, I don't know that for sure. I think it's the same grenade launcher, just this one is more advanced. But more on that in another program. It's Heavy Caliber Ruckus with you. Don't switch off, it will get more interesting.